Welcome to our journey into the world of mind-bending eye illusions. Here, the act of seeing becomes a performance, a dance between reality and interpretation. Our visual system, a marvel of evolution, is not infallible. It employs shortcuts and assumptions, sowing the seeds of illusion. Today, we explore these phenomena where what we see is not always what is truly there. Prepare to be amazed as we reveal how your brain can deceive you. The world we perceive is not a direct recording of external reality. Instead, it is an elaborate construction by our brain. Light enters our eyes, striking the retina. This information is translated into electrical signals. These signals journey to the visual cortex. Here, the brain acts as an interpreter. It makes sense of fragmented data. It fills in gaps and imposes order. This predictive power is essential for survival. However, it makes us susceptible to optical illusions. These illusions demonstrate the brain's interpretive processes. They exploit the rules our visual system uses. When expectations are subverted, perception deviates from reality. Consider how our brain perceives depth and distance. It uses cues like perspective and shading. Optical illusions manipulate these cues. A flat drawing can appear to possess depth. Optical illusions serve as valuable tools for neuroscientists. They reveal that perception is an active process. By understanding how our brains can be tricked, we appreciate our sensory experience. It is a negotiation between reality and belief. These illusions remind us that perception is not a simple reflection of the world. We now turn to a celebrated example of perceptual ambiguity, the Rubin's vase. At first glance, one might perceive a contoured chalice, an ornate goblet. Its curves are smooth, its form symmetrical, a classical beauty. The eye traces its outline and the mind accepts its identity as a vase. This initial interpretation feels stable and certain. Yet linger a moment and a transformation occurs. The edges of the vase now delineate something else entirely. The spaces on either side begin to take shape. Suddenly, two human profiles emerge, facing one another. The vase recedes, becoming the empty space between these faces. This phenomenon, known as figure-ground ambiguity, highlights our visual processing. Our brain segregates objects, the figure, from their surroundings, the ground. In Rubin's vase, both interpretations of vase or two faces are equally plausible. The brain cannot perceive both simultaneously, it must choose one. This oscillation can be quite compelling, a visual seesaw. Edgar Rubin used this illusion to explore figure-ground organization. We tend to perceive smaller, symmetrical and enclosed areas as figures. The Rubin's vase plays with these tendencies. Whichever interpretation is dominant commands our attention. This illusion reminds us that perception is an active construction. The stimulus remains unchanged. It is our brain that flips between interpretations. It demonstrates the mind's effort to impose meaning and structure onto the sensory world. The Rubin's vase is a testament to the dynamic nature of seeing. The perception of color is complex, interpreted in relation to its surroundings. The checker-shadow illusion shows how context alters our perception of brightness and shade. Square A appears light and square B appears dark. Astonishingly, they are the same shade of gray. Our brain compensates for shadows, interpreting context. The checker-shadow illusion exemplifies how context shapes perception. Our visual world relies on geometric certainties. Parallel lines never meet. Yet the cafe wall illusion appears to violate this principle. Perfectly straight, horizontal parallel lines seem to tilt and converge. This illusion consists of alternating rows of light and dark tiles offset by half a tile's width. The crucial element is the grey mortar line between these rows. The straight horizontal mortar lines appear to form wedges, slanting upwards or downwards. This creates the illusion of non-parallel tapering rows. The precise neural mechanisms are still researched, but several theories exist. One explanation involves how cells in our visual cortex respond to edges and contrasts. The interaction between luminance levels of the tiles and mortar lines triggers complex responses. Small areas of brightness and darkness along the mortar lines create illusory twists. These distortions accumulate, leading to the perception of slanted lines, the cafe wall. Illusion was first observed on a cafe's tiled facade in Bristol, England. It shows how our brain can be misled by patterns of contrast and alignment. Our perception of orientation is influenced by surrounding visual elements. The illusion demonstrates that geometric properties can warp within our visual system. It is a testament to the brain's complex processing of visual information. The cafe wall illusion reminds us that our perception is not always accurate. It shows how easily our brain can be deceived by visual patterns. Perceiving depth is crucial for navigating our world. Linear perspective, where parallel lines appear to converge, is a powerful cue. The Ponzo illusion tricks our brain into misjudging size. The upper line appears longer than the lower line. Despite their identical length, our perception insists on a difference. This is the essence of the Ponzo illusion. Our judgment of an object's size is influenced by the objects around it. The Ebbinghaus illusion demonstrates this principle of relative size. It presents two central circles of identical size. Their perceived sizes differ due to the surrounding circles. One central circle is surrounded by larger circles, the other is encircled by smaller circles. The central circle surrounded by large circles appears smaller. The central circle surrounded by small circles appears larger. Our brain compares the central object to its neighbors, skewing our perception. The Ebbinghaus illusion highlights the brain's reliance on contextual information. When the central circle is juxtaposed with larger elements, it appears diminished. When placed among smaller elements, it seems to expand. This is not a failure of vision, but an example of relational information. Size, contrast, and perceived distance contribute to this illusion. The surrounding circles influence how we group the central element. The brain makes a best guess based on relative information. This illusion has implications beyond a visual trick. It suggests that our perception of magnitude is context-dependent. What we consider large or small is determined by the frame of reference. The Ebbinghaus illusion is a visual metaphor for the relativity of perception. It shows that our perception is shaped by the surrounding environment. The Hermann grid is a widely recognized optical illusion. It presents a grid of black squares separated by white corridors. Ghostly grey smudges appear at the intersections of these corridors. If you look directly at an intersection, the spots vanish. These grey spots are a product of our visual processing. Lateral inhibition in the retina explains this phenomenon. Retinal ganglion cells have receptive fields with a center-surround organization. Light on the center excites the cell, while light on the surround inhibits it. At the intersections, the center is stimulated by the white intersection. The surrounding area is also stimulated by the white corridors. This strong stimulation reduces the cell's response, leading to the perception of grey spots. For a cell on a white corridor, the inhibitory surround receives less stimulation. With less inhibition, the cell responds more vigorously, making the corridor appear brighter. The difference in perceived brightness creates the illusion of grey spots. When you look directly at an intersection, the effect is reduced. The Hermann grid illusion illustrates early-stage visual processing. It reveals the interplay of excitation and inhibition within our neural architecture. It is a window into the retina's complex computations. The Hermann grid shows how our visual system enhances edges and contrasts. Our brains actively construct reality, filling in missing information. The Canisa triangle demonstrates this ability. We perceive a bright white triangle that is not actually drawn. It emerges from the arrangement of incomplete elements. 3 black Pac-Man shapes and 3 V-shapes form the illusion. Despite the absence of drawn lines, we perceive a triangle. This perception is due to the brain's tendency towards closure and good continuation. Our visual system prefers to interpret ambiguous stimuli in a simple way. The brain hypothesizes the presence of the triangle to make sense of the elements. The edges of the illusory triangle appear sharp and well-defined. The triangle can seem brighter or closer than the background. The Canisa triangle reveals the brain's inferential processes. Our brain actively interprets and completes patterns. It creates objects and surfaces not explicitly defined by sensory input. The Canisa triangle shows the brain's construction of a stable visual world. The Zollner illusion distorts our perception of orientation. Parallel lines appear to diverge or converge. This effect is achieved by overlaying the lines with short diagonal segments. Imagine several parallel lines intersected by shorter lines angled in the same direction. If the hatch marks on adjacent lines are angled in alternating directions, the lines appear to tilt. The precise cause of the Zollner illusion is debated. One theory suggests that acute angles are overestimated by our visual system. This leads to a perceived tilting of the lines. Another theory involves how our brain processes orientation information. Local orientation cues from the short segments interfere with the global perception of the lines. The brain integrates these conflicting pieces of information, resulting in a compromised perception. The density and angle of the hatch marks influence the illusion's strength. The Zollner illusion shows the complexity of visual processing. It demonstrates that our perception can be biased by nearby visual elements. The illusion reminds us that our perception of orientation is not absolute. It shows how easily our brain can be influenced by visual patterns. The Fraser spiral illusion tricks our brain into perceiving a complex structure. It appears to be a series of concentric spirals. The sense of depth and rotation is compelling. However, there are no true spirals in the image. The pattern is composed of concentric circles. These circles are constructed from misaligned segments. The offset of these segments creates the impression of a spiral. The illusion arises from how our visual system processes local orientation cues. Each segment has a slight tilt or twist. The brain misinterprets these local tilts as a continuous change in direction. The brain connects the dots, leading to a false global structure. The internal patterns within each segment contribute to the illusion. The brain is influenced by the orientation of these local elements. This leads to a perceptual conflict. The Fraser spiral illusion shows how local information can dominate global perception. It highlights the brain's tendency to find continuous paths and patterns. The illusion demonstrates the brain's construction of a coherent representation. The Fraser spiral illusion is a powerful example of visual deception. Our exploration of visual phenomena draws to a close. We have journeyed through a landscape where straight lines bend, colors shift, and forms emerge from the unseen. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey through the world of optical illusions. Each illusion has offered us a glimpse into the complex processes by which our brains construct reality. These are not mere tricks of the light, but demonstrations of the mind's interpretive power. Perception is an active process, constantly working to create a coherent view of our surroundings. This system is effective, but its shortcuts can lead to misperceptions. This susceptibility reveals the elegance of a system honed by evolution. I hope you carry a newfound appreciation for the dance between your eyes, brain, and the world. The capacity for illusion is a testament to the sophistication of our visual apparatus. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more mind-bending content. Continue to question, observe, and marvel at the wonders of perception.